me a long time ago, many years ago, that you could tell how people treat other people by the way they treat objects around them, by the way they treat their world, the way they treat other is how they relate to what they think is not themselves. So I had a friend who lived in an apartment and had a very nice in a marble windowsill that he was putting plants on. And I said, oh, you better put something under there or you'll wreck the windowsill. And he said, well, I don't care. It's not mine. I thought, is that true? So when you see things as not yours, everything is yours, is the way I understand it. So if it comes in front of you and you see it, it's yours to work with. It's yours to relate to. It's your projection. In a sense, it's not anything that's existing of its own accord out there all by itself. So there's a lot of ways to look at relationship through several Buddhist concepts and models, like dependent arising. So nothing comes from its own side by itself. Everything is related to everything else and dependent on it for its existence. So without this cannot exist. And the same is true of any opposite that you see. They are dependent on each other and cannot exist without each other in that way. I was inspired to talk about this in one of the prisons that I visit because a lot of these men are, they're in a difficult situation, obviously. There's a lot of challenge and stress in a prison, and many of them are in there for things like domestic abuse or just treating others badly, like killing them. So how do we see that others are so separate from us? What are we looking at when we're looking at what's out there, apparently out there? We are looking at our own, we're looking at ourselves, we're looking at our own projections of what we think this is, and we can never know what we're really looking at, certainly not about a person, another person. We might project all kinds of value judgments on them that are just our imagination. They aren't inherently true. And they don't inherently exist. So the perception of another person, as we've heard the teaching here and in Buddhism, is an illusion. It's not real. So think about how we move through our world and the situation we're in the world today, both politically, and I won't go into that, but just how we treat the environment. And people see a bug and they smack it and kill it. It's just an impulse. It's a reaction to something separate that might be in our way. I think by looking at our impulse to do this, looking at our habit of treating something in a particular way, it might be helpful to look at how this is arising. Are we not really, we're not really seeing what's in front of us. We're not allowing enough space to really see what it is. So if we see other as something that we like, or something we don't like, or something we don't care about, then we're making some kind of a value judgment. And this might be based on habit formations that we don't have a lot of control over. But whatever comes up in your life that you're in relationship to, and you're in relationship to everything in your life that you see, whether you're ignoring it or not liking it, that not liking, disliking is also a relationship. Some of the most powerful ones, I would say, are the ones that we're not very happy about and try to reject or try to ignore. So everything that I see, there was a monk once that Sokuzan used to quote, who looked out at things and said, all mine, everything is all mine. So what was he seeing? Was that his world, everything that he sees, everything we see is our responsibility. We're responsible for everything that shows up. Because of how we perceive it. So I've been noticing a lot of, in my own mind stream, and when judgment comes up about someone or something, which is just like it or not like it, being layered, this is good, this is bad, this is fun, this is miserable. If I look at it long enough, I cannot find any real difference, anything that's really inherently a problem in that thing that's showing up. So why is that so difficult? We don't choose our relationships in the way that we think we do. They appear based on our body-mind complex and our fire. Farm? Fire.
False alarm.
Did you hear the fire alarm go off?
Hot talk.
Hot topic.
We're still here.
Still here. I don't know if they heard it online. Maybe it was just too loud. But the fire alarm just went crazy. It still is. I'll give it a minute to come back in. Does anyone have questions at this point before I look at my notes again?
Trevor Bowen,
Go ahead, Trevor.
are you and Sokuzan married?
In a sense, we're all married to Sokuzan. No, I'm not his wife.
Okay.
But I've taken vows with him, as has everyone in the room here.
Mm.
A pretty strong relationship.
I remember I ended up here and he had 5 kids, so I thought I'd ask.
Okay. Nope, I don't have any of his kids either.
Mm.
Any other questions from anyone? Milka?
Allowing, when we see other, what happens to the relationship with what we're seeing?
Well, then the relationship is just a discernment of, it's a concept about what you're seeing. It's a concept about this is me and I'm a self and this is someone else, something else separate from me. And is that what you're asking? Could you ask it again, please?
Allowing when we see other, what happens to the relationship with what we're seeing?
Well, I also think most of us see this way. It's the conventional relative way of seeing everything. Seeing not other would be seeing not separate, just something you can't describe. There aren't really any words for. Chogyam Trungpa Sokuzan often quotes that the best relationship is no relationship. So if you contemplate that, it kind of brings you to a dead end about any concept with relationship. What is no relationship?
Kabbalah, so is no relationship, no other.
Sounds like it, doesn't it? What does that look like? I don't know.
Kabbalah, what causes us to fixate on a relationship?
I would say that is passion or wanting something. So that's the difference between love and attachment. Love is wanting everything for that person. Attachment is wanting something from that person. Wanting something, it's from an ego perspective. Which is where most of us are, no matter how subtle that thing that we want is. We want to be loved back. We want to be treated well. But I would say that's the difference.
Kabbalah, what about relationships to objects? What is the fixation there that's happening?
Well, we tend to see everything as an obstruction or as something we need to possess. As something in our way or as something we're not sure about. So we're making constant evaluations of everything that we encounter. And on doing that, you're missing what's actually there.
Kabbalah, what's there?
Find out. I don't know. It's not what we think it is, but what it is has been said. It's been said it's not separate. Anybody else?
Kandama bowing, is there a difference between want and need? Bowing?
I've asked that question before of Sokuzan a long time ago. I remember it because it was a cutting answer. He said, "You know what the difference is." And you did. And then you answered it differently for someone else. That was just for me, I guess.
That's because you're identical.
Identical?
Identical quadruplets.
So wanting, I think, just in a conventional sense, wanting something is desire. Needing something may have desire, but it's also something that supports your life, like food. So it's leap. Basic things, but I don't know how to really describe, because sometimes desire is so powerful that it seems more like a need than just a want.
Kandama bowing, I'm thinking of relationships that are difficult. And the difference, what is the difference between wanting and needing in those kinds of relationships? Usually it's wanting them to be something other than what they are, and needing them. Somehow we add something to, like, we reject the relationship, we reject what's happening, it's wrong what's happening, instead of seeing it for what it is.
Seems like that's just where ego gets involved and it's grasping, wanting something from the relationship that's not happening, that they're not getting, or that they perceive they're not getting. Maybe having an agenda that's not even apparent. Wanting some kind of control over things in order to feel better, not wanting to suffer. I think every relationship is difficult. And that's, relationship is the whole path until it's not anymore.
Kanjama bowing. So then what do we do in those, when we're on the path, when we are feeling that uncomfortableness in relationships and looking at, do we look at what's coming up for ourselves? Or can we accommodate what seems to be difficult for others in that relationship? Bowing?
I don't know if we can know that, what others are working with, but we can look at what's happening for ourselves and just be with that. Not to necessarily evaluate it, but just to be with, just to give it space and be with the difficulty. Maybe you can then recognize what you might be wanting from it that isn't happening, you're not getting.
Kanjama bowing, you just said earlier, relationship is the path. What do you mean by that?
Well, everything in our life is some kind of relationship. And as long as you're seeing something else, you're in relationship to that other thing. And whether it's your mind or objects or people or whatever it is, it's your relationship to that thing that you're focused on. So that's until you realize no self or realize no other, no self, no other, then the relationships are the path. And then maybe their fruition at the end. Although as long as there's a relationship, there are two things. There's a self and other, something and something else, me and mine. Me and not mine.
Kanjama bowing, I find that interesting. I've not looked at like a relationship with emotions or a relationship with thoughts, but I can't. That seems true. Bowing.
Thank you. Erla?
Bowing. What is it? What does no relationship mean in the midst of a relationship? Bowing.
In the midst of a relationship? Well, it's kind of a confusing question if it's if you're in the midst of a relationship, then no relationship might not make any sense to you if you're doing that. I don't know if that would be helpful to think about it in that way. In the midst of a relationship. You're talking about with another person or with
It
anything?
was, yeah, like what we would traditionally find a relationship to be.
I think if you're really receiving another person and you're listening and paying attention to another person, you've taken a bodhisattva vow, so to be with all things or save all beings, and not interfering, then there's a chance of being able to be with that person without a lot of separation, without the hard, you and me, and maybe I don't know. I don't think it's an experience because I can't speak about it in that way. I don't know.
Or bowing, maybe another way of asking what I'm looking at. Is no relationship, that teaching, the opposite of relationships? Bowing.
I suppose technically it would be, if you're talking about relationship and then no relationship. So if you talk about relationships as self and other, no relationship, no self, no other. That's the way it looks to me. Or,
Not yet, thank you though. Thank you.
thank you. Jisheen?
Bowing. What could be an example of someone, and this is like a generic someone, who wants everything for the person, specific person, or all people?
What did you say? What would be the relationship of someone who wants?
What would be an example?
Oh, an example.
Yes. Of
Like-
yeah, please.
Thank you. Like a parent and a child. You want everything for that child. You don't want them to be happy. You want them to have a good life. You want them to be safe and protected. Not that things like jealousy or something might not arise with a child at some point. But that probably comes closer than in a partner relationship where jealousy or possessiveness might arise.
Bowing. I'm wondering if we look at the at that whoever, whatever created that whole world for us, which seems like a extremely generous act of giving to beings on this planet everything we need. Whether this could be an example of wanting everything for people, for beings here.
Are you talking about a creator, like a god?
I didn't want to use that word because it may complicate the question, but it's difficult to ask that question without using a specific noun. So let's say creator, yes. Bye.
I don't know about the creator in the big sense as the one creator, but we can create for ourselves that kind of feeling or sense of generosity. But you have everything you need. Everything is a gift. Everything is, it's just generosity. I think I'm not sure. I don't think I addressed your question.
Bowing. I think it's difficult. It's difficult to ask the question and probably difficult to address it. But I'm just trying to. You gave an example of the parent, but of course the parent wants everything for the child, but at the same time the parent wants the child to be a certain person. So it's not that open generosity which we are experiencing when things are given to us, the earth, the food, the nature, the air, everything. So I was wondering whether this is not an example of this kind of generosity. And I'm also thinking about the relationship of the teacher towards the student, whether this could be another example of the teacher wanting everything for the students. Question mark, bowing.
That could be a good example of a teacher who's taken a vow and wants everything for their students, and no matter what. And also in the bigger sense, like you seem to be talking about, there's basic goodness. And there's also the threefold purity: no giver, no giving, no gift, or no receiver. The threefold purity of no one giving and no one receiving, just the gift.
Thank you.
Conjure buying, what is, I don't know, what characterizes the relationship with a teacher versus maybe other kinds of relationships you might have, buying?
Boy, that's probably a wide spectrum, different for different people. I think devotion is one of the things that would characterize it. Faith, trust. Ideally. But many kinds of relationships show up between students and teachers. They have to start somewhere. Some of them start out kind of difficult, and maybe confrontational even. Relationships, like everything else, are impermanent, so they change all the time. Move around. There's lots of examples of that, and stories about in koans, and also in just stories about the Tibetan monks and their relationships with their teachers. They run away, they come back, they hit their teachers hit them. There's some pretty crazy stories out there. So there's no standard for it.
Conjure buying, I was thinking, as you were talking there about idealization. And in both kinds of relationships, or all kinds of relationships, we have this ideal, possibly, or expectations. Is there any difference between idealizing a partner versus idealizing a teacher?
That's a really good point and good question. I think we do idealize, and we have expectations of partners, teachers, everything we encounter. We have some kind of structure that expects that we are in a certain way, we behave in a certain way, or they behave in a certain way. Is there more? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, bowing. When it looks like we're at one with an object, like we get on a bicycle and we can just ride. Is this not separate?
Like a flow experience, like who is it, Maslow then? Even the one with the flow experience, maybe, I don't know. Maybe when there's no conceptualization going on about I'm me and I'm riding bicycle, there's just riding bicycle or riding. I don't know. Close, I think it might be close though. Chokadawa.
Chokadawa bowing. In Charlotte Joko Beck's first book, she has a chapter called Relationships Don't Work. Is that a phrase that you would use in this talk, or have you accessed that?
Oh, thank you. I think I've heard it. I didn't know it came from her. It's like meditation doesn't work. Relationships don't work. I guess ultimately we're always disappointed in something in a relationship. Just like on the path. Sokuzan says one disappointment after another, quoting his teacher, Jogem Trungpa Rinpoche. Because that's our expectations and our continual grasping at a self that wants something from it. Earl?
Earl Bowing, is it possible to have that understanding of relationships don't work and still, is it suggested that we just don't get in relationships anymore?
Oh no. No, if they don't work, you just keep working them anyway. You don't have to work them, you just are in them. You're always in some kind of relationship. Even if you're not in a human relationship with somebody, close relationship at the time. You have the relationship with that person in your mind, or you have that other relationships outside, but you just enjoy them or let them unfold as they will without trying to make them into something that they're not. Thank you. Condor.
Kandro Bowing, when Sokuzan points here, what is it that he's pointing at? Is there looking at the relationship to self? Bowing?
To go within, to look within. Relationship to self. So that would depend on how you think about self, maybe. I'm not sure how. Who is it that's relating to self? So
When you say depends on how you think about self, does that mean there's several ways of thinking about a self? And is there, along with that, is there such a thing as not thinking about a self? And if so, what do you think about that?
self, my understanding when we talk about self is that there's ego. That's the ego. That's what we grasp at as us. This is me. So however you think about self, that's why I asked who's relating to self. Is there someone who's relating to self? I don't see how that can happen unless you're witnessing self and creating other selves. And then I lost the rest of your question. How are you thinking about self?
Sounds good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Jishin?
Jishin Bowing. What receiving teaches us about relationship?
For me, receiving tells me that people are not what I think they are. That there's all kinds of surprises and I don't know how to characterize it, but things are not as they seem. That receiving is like being in relationship in a way that's closer to no relationship, maybe, if you're really receiving the other. If that's possible, to be closer to the opposite of something.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Milka Bowing, can we be in a relationship without picking and choosing?
Mm. I don't know, I'm not sure if I've been in one with what I think is picking and choosing, but I think they're kind of choiceless. You might pick and choose at things within that relationship. But you're not choosing that relationship in the way you think you are. So,
If you're in a relationship where you, some things that you like about the relationship and other things you don't like about the relationship, is there something that the teachings say you should do about that?
you just look at that, just
What teachings say that?
yours.
Who's that?
Kazan,
Yours?
yours. Your teachings say to just look at that. To just observe. And not to meddle with that. I think that's what you're asking is what should we do with what we like and don't
That's
like
what
in
I'm
a relationship? There's nothing to fix in it. You can't fix it.
Well, if someone's doing something that's just wrong or bad or irritating or incorrect or antisocial or unethical or flamboyant or redundant. Well,
No, those are all just judgments about what they're doing.
what do you do about that?
Nothing.
Isn't that doing something? Doing nothing with it?
Well, it could be if you're ignoring it.
Yeah, you got me there.
Go in,
Oh, go ahead, Trevor. I was just going to ask for a final question. Go ahead.
go in, that's what it means, go in. Always go in,
Are you saying go within?
yeah.
Thank you. That's a very good place to end.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Dedicate the merit.